Welcome, everybody, to Born Broke with your host, who's managed over $3 billion and is a serial entrepreneur, happens to be my best friend, hell of a guy, Mr. Mike Hofert.
Thanks, George. Thanks. Welcome to the show, everybody. Please, before we get started, let's subscribe and hit that like button. What are we going to talk about?
Welcome, everybody, to Born Broke. And today, we're going to talk about current events, kind of the first time we're doing it as a current event episode. And I think it's very important to talk about what's going on. You know, the election's over.
No politics, though.
No. I'm just saying that regardless on how you voted, let's not talk about that. I'm just saying, let's focus on what's going on right now. How does the current economy, everything, how does it affect me right now?
No, absolutely. I'm going to jump in here, George. Basically,
of course, you're the host of the show.
Yeah, the reason why we're talking about current events for the first time is actually, I was telling George on off camera that I get asked these questions more and more as our channel grows.
Yeah.
And people want to know what I think about certain things, where we currently are with real estate, stock market, future planning, school for kids, private schools versus public schools, blah, 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 blah. But we're here now. George, I know you have some bullets that you've prepared for this.
I've got
and let's talk about them. What do you got? What do you got first up?
I mean, we could talk about. Let's back off on that one right now. We'll save that one. I mean, super important. Inflation, its impacts on household budgets, right? Like, I know my house, my budget has increased.
Correct.
So I'm trying to compensate by fuel's never going to change. You pretty much have the same, right? You have your same driving patterns. At least I do.
I mean, it's going to fluctuate a little.
It's going to fluctuate a little
bit. It's not going to fluctuate a ton, as we know.
But in my budget, that's baked in. Yeah. Food baked in. I can always, go to the grocery store, make my own food, of course, make my coffee at home.
Correct.
All the little things, but just I think overall, I think people are just impacted on just the price of food.
Yeah, I think all those things are absolutely going up, right? And they can get to you, but that's the importance of reminders from us. Born Broke Live was birthed out of reminding people. We don't have all the answers, but reminding you to look at your budget on a regular basis and see where you can trim or see where you've fallen out of line, right? Because it'll help with these things you can't control, like inflation. Food is going up, gas is going up, price of goods are going up. Everything's getting more expensive currently, and you have to figure out a way personally within your manageable, controlled area on how to kind of deal with that situation. And it all starts with budgeting, which is one of our very, very first episodes. And I know a lot of people don't like to budget, and maybe you aren't a budgeter. That's fine. But you're going to struggle with knowing where your money goes, right? And your budget doesn't have to be this elaborate, sexy thing either. It can be very simplistic.
Just bare bones.
Bare bones.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Inflation, and you have to figure out how to combat inflation.
Yeah.
Because, although we have a voice and all that kind of stuff, for us to be able to make change is very difficult, right? You can look at the state you live in, right? Gas fluctuates from state to state.
Yep.
Right? Price of goods fluctuates from state to state.
Yep.
You could move. Something you could legitimately look, you could look at that.
Yeah.
That's something real.
Yeah.
I think, what else do you have on there other than the inflation of goods?
I think this is a really good one because we're all preparing for it. Like, the holidays are coming up.
Oh yeah.
Right? So now you have whatever your budget is. I know I'm looking like this year specifically because of all the construction going on in my house. Like, I'm kind of like looking internally going, is this going to be not an impressive Christmas for the kids and the wife? Like, am I going to have to, make my own gifts? Because it's just because I have to stay on a strict budget.
Sure.
Because you can go and swipe the credit card of money that you don't have, where I have to put it in construction costs for my home and things of that nature. So do you have the discipline during a time where there is no discipline at all?
Right. Well, I'll jump in on that. Of course.
Most people.
Yeah, for most people.
Yeah.
The most important thing that I can tell you here, and some might say BS, whatever, you can't put a price tag on memories. Remember that first. right? A memory is worth infinity amounts of money, right? Somebody once told me, recently actually, if there's a vacation that you're on the fence about taking because of money, right? You can afford to take it, but it might hurt a little bit. Might be a bad example, but follow me. Take the vacation. And you know why? Because you won't in 10, 15, 20 years with whoever you take that vacation with or your family, remember how stretched thin that vacation cost you, but you will remember those memories forever. So I would say, to your point with the holidays, it's about memories first, less about materialism, right? So it's the M squared. Memories first, materialism second. Second thing with that is you don't have to buy people expensive gifts or brand new gifts. You can get thrift stuff.
Yeah, you do. You got to get them really expensive stuff. It needs to be brand new.
No, you don't.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Folks out there, do not listen to him. Do not get your son a used bike from whatever. What is it called?
Your son isn't going to know. Goodwill?
Yeah, the Goodwill.
Your son will not know the difference after he throws it in the dirt the first time.
By the way,
put a nice bow on it, you'll be fine.
I buy all his stuff at Play It Again Sports.
There you go. See? So you're just playing around.
I just don't do the thrift shops.
Yeah. All you got to do is put a nice bow on it. You know, there's ways to do it. Shine it up. But you know, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, and
you don't have to stress out about having to. You could bake cookies. You could make some food.
I don't bake.
You could look. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about whoever, whatever.
I'm not
go to your
skill set. No, talking to the audience.
Talking to the audience. Okay. Go to your skill set.
Not baking.
And figure out what it is. Okay. You know.
But if you're leading up, okay, so you still have time. It's not much time, but
it's going fast.
You've got a month to prepare. To prepare for Christmas, essentially, right? A little more than a month.
Yeah.
So, if you want to buy that nicer gift, if you want to do it, you can do it by cutting out. Go into your budget and go, oh my gosh, I have an Americano at Starbucks
every
5 days a week. That's $25.
Yeah.
That's $100 a month.
Yeah.
Don't drink at Starbucks.
Yeah.
You might jitter a little bit and buy some cheaper stuff. Fine. Make the Starbucks at home. You grind it up, you put it in a machine that they still exist. And then guess what? That's $100 right there that you can get a nicer gift.
Sure. Or wait till 2026.
Yeah.
Save up. Yeah. I don't know what you're doing, but look into your own situation.
Just swipe your credit card and just go friggin' nuts.
Yeah. But then you're going to, no.
You don't want to do that?
No.
Why not?
Not unless you can pay that debt off.
But what if you can't pay it off? And you just like everybody else, just spending with that credit card.
Well, then
you switch to a debit card.
No, mentally, you're gonna fail.
Should you switch to a debit card though?
Sure,
and then not have the discipline to swipe a credit card and pay it off at the end of the month.
Yeah, you could do a debit card, but then you're gonna empty your bank account too.
True.
So you
no, really, but I think you're gonna think. I think you're gonna think more because it almost should be. They should make every debit card look like cash. Like it's just like it looks like a cash, like a dollar bill. Yeah. And the other one look like plastic and it's fake, like Monopoly money. This is not real.
You're funny today.
I'm just serious. Like it's if you don't have the discipline either way, you're gonna drain your bank account. If you have nothing, you might as well borrow the money, never pay it back, default, need a debt settlement company to come help you. Or file bankruptcy.
But that's why this channel exists.
That's the path, though.
That's true. Very true. But do not do that. This is a show not to do that on.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
He is. But I don't want anyone to get false, like maybe they're only listening with one ear and they're doing something else. And they're like, hey, George said on Born Broke Live, just swipe that thing.
I'm clearly not the finance guy here. I'm trying to create a little bit of humor. But
what else you got on that bullet point list?
Okay. Well, holiday spending. That's not that fun. Well, stock market trends, the rise of AI in financial planning.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't really have much to say about that. I think I would defer anyone that's watching that wants to see about AI and financial planning. This is my 2 cents on that. Consult your financial advisor first and see what they have to say about it. I wouldn't personally do anything radical without understanding fully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying use AI. I'm not saying don't use AI. I think there's a balance.
Yeah.
I think it's important to understand the balance so you don't jump off a cliff, so to speak.
Yeah,
you know, AI is
yeah.
wonderful. We've talked about it on some shows.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful, and it's going to change the game, and it's inevitable that those that know how to use it are going to benefit from it way
Yeah.
more than those that like shy away from it because they're scared
Mhm.
of it. But I think you definitely, I would seek some advice, do some research, do some reading, really do your due diligence so you understand what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think with AI, if it gets to that point, which it's going to very quickly, your Wells Fargo or your B of A or whoever you bank with is going to be integrated with this app, right? And it's going to be able to pay all your bills. It's going to warn you when you're spending. Like, there's already they're called PFM tools, personal finance management tools,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're like the Rocket Monies of the world, Credit Karma, things of that nature. There are these apps that supposedly take care of everything. They don't. It's just all they're doing is connecting everything. So with the evolution of
Right.
AI,
Yeah.
then it's going to start not investing for you right away, but just managing your money and helping you pay all your bills.
Well, it's inevitable.
Just
AI is going to,
automation.
yeah, automation in
Yeah.
finance is definitely here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And it's going to help those people out there that don't maybe have the discipline or don't have the wherewithal to do budgeting or any of these things that we talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always one to say, you still need to be in control.
Fundamentally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You still have to be in control. Because even though it's automated and even though it's a wonderful thing, still rely on you.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what you're alluding to, like similar to a subscription.
Yeah.
It's easy, it's convenient.
Correct.
But most of the time you don't need those subscriptions.
Or you forget about them.
You forget about them. And it's like GPS. Everybody's got GPS on their phone. Well, mine was failing the other day. And I had no idea where the hell I was. It was one of those Waze things that was coming back from Orange County.
Yeah.
Routing me back to Thousand Oaks. And I was in the middle of like downtown LA. You know how they just route you from random neighborhoods. And it just starts glitching.
Oof.
And like my car was floating off, like, you know, all the grids of the street. I was on whatever 10th Street or whatever, and my car was like way off there. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm on 10th Street. So I like had to pull over and I like had to reset my phone, and then finally it started working again. But I think the reason I'm sharing that is, if everything becomes automated, fundamentally, do you even know how to construct a budget? Do you know that, you know, going to the grocery store and buying enough stuff for the family is about $200?
Yeah,
it's more.
Yeah,
but and then it's $500. Wait a minute, you have to be able to keep an eye on. I keep an eye on it every day.
But that
every day I look at it.
That's what you should do, because ultimately, I was going to even elaborate in my life. My life is, I never want to put myself in a situation where I'm dependent on somebody or something.
Right.
Technology. And the reason and what I say about that is because I'm an entrepreneur and I've started businesses from scratch. I've had to make sure I can do every facet of that business, all the way from the bookkeeping to the taxes, to the cutting of the payroll checks, to the cutting of the vendor checks. I physically had to make sure I knew how to do that, so I wasn't ever held hostage.
I have a good story.
Somebody.
I have a good story about being hostage.
Go for it.
Not like physically, but I was using ChatGPT to analyze media.
Yeah.
And it was just down that day. And I had so much to do, and I was like, and I know how to do it.
Oh man.
It just takes me 15, 20 minutes to analyze the data and one data set, but I had like 10 data sets, and I had all these other things that I was doing.
Oh man.
And I was, you know, obviously leveraging AI, and it was amazing. And the first time it was down, I was like losing my shit.
I bet.
I was losing my shit. I was like, and then I had conference calls. And
You're probably sweating.
Like, oh yeah, I was just like, this is not good. And so, I'm not saying take out a Thomas guide and like flip through to see where you're driving to.
Sure.
But
you could.
You could. You get pulled over, but
maybe pull over and do the Thomas guide.
Yeah, exactly. But I think in general, yeah, you have to be able to do it yourself, and then also use the GPS.
Because you have to understand it.
Correct.
Because if you don't take the time to fully understand something and you get caught in a situation, you'll panic. Yeah. It's human nature. You'll panic.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, what do I do now?
And you have to stick up for the humans.
Right.
You really do. You got to
stick up for the humans.
How many conversations have I had with people that I work with where, you know, they come up with this solution to contact a consumer and they're like, well, you can contact them with a human call center. And we're like, are we really starting to talk like that? Like we're referring to like, oh, this is a human solution or an AI solution. That's what everybody talks about now.
Sure.
Where can your position be replaced with AI? All you got to do is be able to leverage AI and almost keep a little bit of a distance. Not that I'm fully like attached at the hip, unfortunately.
Right.
And I don't think I'll ever break away, but it's also, you also have to embrace AI because that's the person who will replace you.
Yeah, because you're embracing it and really learning how to manipulate it to the best of your ability, which isn't a bad thing either.
But when it breaks,
but that's
fucked.
But that's why we're telling people don't 100% rely on it. Make sure you know enough to navigate.
You should, yeah, exactly. So let's say when that app does come into your life that can help you manage your finances via AI and automation, you should be checking on it every day.
Sure.
Right? It's kind of like watching.
Like your employee.
Yeah, it's like, you know when you speed test your internet? I don't know if you guys ever do that. I do it all the time to make sure I'm getting the best internet. I speed test. I'm like, cool. Versus just wondering if it's fast or not.
Right.
So it's always like, just always checking on it or always cutting your grass every week. You don't just say, oh no.
Man,
right?
You went from technology to cutting grass. The most basic life thing to the most advanced.
You know what?
I love it.
You know why? That was my first job.
No, I know you revealed that in an episode.
Yeah, but these people listening to this episode didn't know that I had
but what we're realizing
business.
But I will tell
30% ownership.
But what we're
30%.
But what we talked about this too, though.
Yeah,
what we're realizing more and more, which we're very, very thankful. Subscribe. Keep subscribing to our channel. Our channel continues to grow. We really appreciate it. Keep subscribing. That's the only way we get there. I mean, this whole thing, we don't have a big crew.
No, it's just
we have a small little crew, you know, that kicks it. And we have a good time. But back to your bullet points. What else you got?
Let's see. What else we got?
Because I think
that's interesting.
We'll take one more. We'll take one more.
We can either go emergency fund, which
what else?
We can talk about that, or we can talk about the government reinstituting student loans. So
I would shy away from the student loan thing. I think that's its own episode.
Yeah,
I think, you know, emergency funds are easy, and I think, you know, we don't want to bore anyone in this episode. So let's wrap it up on the importance of emergency fund
or stock market trends. What do you want to talk about?
No, because those are
emergency funds.
Yeah, just emergency funds. It's very simple. Emergency funds. You should make sure you plan an emergency fund, and I'm going to say to be able to live for 12 months. You should work toward a 12-month nest egg that if something were to happen, lose a job, get sick, whatever have you, you fall on hard times, that you could continue to pay your bills for 12 months. Mm-hmm. That's what you should work towards, in my opinion. That gives you 12 months worth of runway to fix the situation or get a new job or do what you have to do. I think emergency funds, people don't really take them serious, and then it's too late when they need it. So I really think it's something you should try to do.
It's not the credit limit on your card either. This is like cash that if you get in a bind, you can pay for yourself for a year. I've been there. I've been in between gigs.
Stuff happens.
And you need that. You need that runway.
Stuff happens. Credit cards are fine because it's a Band-Aid, but it's going to drive you into bad debt. Yeah. And then it's going to be harder to get out. I wouldn't stress out about not having an emergency fund, but I definitely wouldn't take emergency fund lightly. I would work toward having something. You can't have 12 months, have 6. If you can't have 6, have 4. Something is better than nothing.
Right.
That's as easy as that.
And then if you don't, you need to have a backup plan where is it family? Is it a personal loan? Is it tapping into equity in your home? Like, what if you don't have that cash? What's next? Like if you don't have that right now, and let's say you hadn't saved up for a year, right?
Right.
You didn't even have 6 months. You didn't have 3 months. You didn't even have a month.
Well, you're moving back in with your parents.
let's say you're married and you got a kid or two.
You're moving back in with your parents. Okay. You are. I'm just going to put it out there.
What if you don't have parents?
Then you're moving in with a close friend that'll take you in.
Okay.
That's the only way you're going to make it. That's the only way you're going to get on your feet.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have a miracle happen to you there, I'm just saying how it is. You're going to be moving in with somebody.
Okay, you're going to move in there. You still need cash. That friend or those parents still can't help you. If you need to access,
get out there and get a job. You got to work.
You have a job. Your wife has a job, but you guys don't have any money. It's just inflation. It's happening everywhere.
Well, then you're not budgeting properly. You're living way beyond your means. If you have a job and you are going to that extreme that you're losing everything, A, you have the wrong job and you need to be looking to make a switch. B, your budget's busted and you're not budgeting properly. Yeah. And C, you have zero discipline. Yeah. So ultimately you're moving in with somebody that will take you in for free rent, even if you have a kid and a wife or a couple kids.
What about 2 dogs?
Doesn't matter.
Furry little guys.
I hope you have good friends. Otherwise, unfortunately, you have no other alternative other than living in a tent. And that's the harsh reality. It sucks. But that's the importance of getting your finances under control.
I like that. I like the fire you brought today.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I think on the next episode, I think maybe we do one about where the real estate market is currently. That's what I think, but that's another episode, so we'll see.
Whether you rent or buy, or
I don't know. We'll talk about it on another one. I would say this is this one. And
sometimes you can't rent or buy. You got to go live with a family friend.
That's exactly right.
So anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and that's a wrap.